People like you better get out of my condo. You loser, who can only make $1,400 for income.
That's what my husband Paul said and tried to kick me out. Normally, I would shrink back in fear, but I already made up my mind. Okay, but are you sure about that? When I told my husband something, his face turned pale all at once. My name is Joyce. I am a 30-year-old housewife. I am, however, a newlywed who just recently got married. I met my husband Paul at a blind date. He is 3 years older than me, but he is very patient, just like his age, and also was good-looking. He worked for a major company and was currently a section manager, so he was, for lack of a better word, a man with good conditions. And even without that, he was a very kind and gentle man, and I was attracted to him on the inside as well. We exchanged contact information, and we began to see each other, and after a few more times, we started dating. About a year into our relationship, he proposed to me. The place for the proposal was a fancy restaurant with a beautiful night view, although the location was a bit cliché. The restaurant was quite expensive, and the food was extremely delicious. I thought he might propose to me, but the meal was so good that I couldn't stop thinking about it. So, when he gave me the ring and asked me to marry him, he seemed incredibly surprised. I think he was really surprised because he told me later.
I thought you might have found out, but seeing your reaction, Joyce, I was glad that the surprise seemed to have worked on you.
So, like that, his proposal was a success, and I was satisfied, filled with happiness, as we were to get married. We then immediately went to greet each other's parents. Paul is pretty straightforward in his way of expressing love, so his greeting to my parents was amazing.
I will make your daughter the happiest person in the world. Please, leave your daughter in my hands with peace of mind.
He said these words so powerfully that my parents seemed to sense his sincerity.
Paul, please take good care of my precious daughter.
Seeing him shake hands firmly with my father, I was convinced that our future married life would be absolutely happy. After that, we successfully greeted his parents, completed the meeting of both families, and we had our wedding ceremony. The ideal wedding ceremony that we had planned together was well received by those who attended, and it became a very good memory. Then, our newlywed life began. My husband had told me that he wanted me to be a full-time housewife after we got married, so I resigned from my job and became a full-time housewife. From then on, I worked very hard at housework. I had lived on my own for a long time, so I was good at cooking. But since I became a housewife, I wanted to improve my cooking skills, so I studied a lot and improved my skills.
This meat and potatoes is really delicious.
Really? Oh, I'm glad.
I am happy to have a wife who is a good cook.
I was happy that my husband was so happy to eat what I cooked. When people are happy, it makes them want to work harder. After that, I continued to study cooking and expanded my menu and repertoire. For the next year or so, I worked hard at housework as a full-time housewife. Then my husband made this suggestion.
When we first got married, you came to live here with me instead of moving out to a new place because of being busy with the wedding and whatnot. But isn't it about time we moved into a new place?
Sure, this room of my husband's is huge, but it was originally an apartment for a single person. So we are running pretty low on storage spaces. We've been married for a year now, and it would certainly be nice to rent a new place. Yeah, you're right. I think we should.
Okay. I'll look for a nice place then.
Huh? Oh, okay. I was a little confused because I thought we were supposed to look for a place together. However, my husband is planning to look for a place by himself. Well, he was the one who proposed the idea of moving in the first place, and if he's that excited about it, I think I'll just leave it to him. I really wanted to look for a place together, looking at floor plans and so on, but about a week or two later, my husband brought me a lot of information.
I think this is the place for us.
I was happy that my husband was willing to search with me. In fact, I was so grateful that he narrowed down our options. However, I was surprised when I saw the information of the place my husband brought back home. What? The 27th, 29th, 30th floors. Aren't these rooms all from a condo? I asked him, and he replied with a proud look on his face.
Yeah, because I'm a section chief in a very famous big company, right? My salary is much more higher than that of a section chief at a local company, so living in a room this size is no problem for me.
I see. I was concerned about my husband's occasional displays of arrogance. But my husband is not just a talker, and he certainly makes a lot of money. He actually does what he says he is going to do, so I can't say too strongly about it. Besides, I certainly wanted to experience life in a nice condo. I discussed it with my husband and decided to sign a contract for a room in the condo that seemed to fit our requirements and move in. Wow, this is amazing.
That's the best view I've ever had.
My new room was so gorgeous, beautiful, and spacious, and it was on the 30th floor, so the view was amazing. I'm going to be living in this amazing room every day from now on. I can't believe that this is happening. The kitchen was a system kitchen, spacious and so magnificent that it looked like it could be used by a chef or a culinary researcher.
Oh, my study room is very nice too.
My husband was very happy that we could move into the perfect room.
I feel like I'm one of the successful people.
My husband would say that happily. I think that rather than being happy by being one of the successful people, he should be happy about the spacious and beautiful house. But maybe men are more fixated on that part about being successful and whatnot. That's not a place for me to step in, is what I thought, and I just listened to him. From then on, we were beginning to enjoy our life in the condo. 2 years had passed since we got married. From this time on, I gradually developed a desire to work. I felt I had already fully enjoyed living as a full-time housewife in the condo. Besides, no matter how much my husband's income was good, I felt that it was not good enough for me to continue to feel secured about the future. I had to start earning money on my own. That's what I felt. So I asked my husband if I could work, while I also do the housework properly. I had a feeling that Paul might disagree with my idea, but my husband gave me permission to work if I would do the housework properly. So I immediately started job hunting. Then I found an office job with just the right conditions. It was a job that started in the morning and ended in the evening around 4:30 p.m. I immediately applied for that job. I was lucky to get the job because I had worked for a reasonably well-known company after graduating from college. Thus, I went back to work. It had been a while since I had properly communicated with someone other than my husband, so it was kind of fun, and the atmosphere at the workplace was good. The work was challenging, and the senior staff taught me carefully. I like being a housewife, but I also like working. And it seems to be good for my mental health to be able to experience the fact that I am earning my own money. To my own surprise, even if my husband's salary is good and we are living a good life, I can't seem to shake off the feeling of insecurity. Even if it was a small salary, it was more important for me to be able to work and earn my own money. One day, however, an issue arose. There was a problem at the company, and everyone had to work overtime to deal with it. I, of course, stayed at the office with everyone else, and we worked together to deal with the situation. But this wasn't the issue. It was the fact that I had to work overtime and had to go home late at night was the issue. I was able to get home at 7:30 p.m. that day, and my husband came home half an hour later. When he saw that I had not finished cooking, he gave me a puzzled look.
Hey, why isn't dinner ready?
I'm sorry. We all worked late at the office today, so I just got home a little while ago. Can I ask you to take a bath first? I said to him, and started to prepare dinner. Then my husband suddenly banged on the table. The sound was so loud that I was startled.
What the hell? Who the hell do you think you are?
Excuse me?
How dare you order me around like that? I get to decide on my own when to take a bath.
Oh, I'm sorry. It'll just take me a little bit longer to get dinner ready, so I thought it would be a good idea if you took a bath first.
Huh? So why should I let you be the judge of that?
My husband became angry in a way he had never shown before. I had never seen him like that, so I was really surprised.
I allowed you to work because you promised to do the housework perfectly. How dare you break your promise?
My husband's anger continued to grow, and all I could do was apologize. And from then on, his attitude became worse and worse.
What? Our dinner is fish today? I want meat. Why can't I get meat?
I'm sorry. It was meat yesterday, so I thought I'd change it up for our nutritional balance.
Don't do anything unnecessary. My goodness, you really are a useless wife.
My husband continued to pay detailed attention to me and verbally abused me after that. My husband's anger was very scary, and I could only apologize to him so as not to provoke him in a weird way. And gradually I began to blame myself that I was making my husband angry because I was in the wrong. From then on, I tried to be careful about how to not make my husband angry like that. But no matter how well I did my chores, my husband would get irrationally angry with me, depending on his mood at the time.
Hey, the water in the bath is not warm at all.
But the day before yesterday, you said that it was too hot.
Don't you talk back to me. You should know way in advance about what I want.
But only a psychic could do that. But when I disobey my husband, he gets even angrier. I'm sorry. I'll be careful from now on. My husband always looks satisfied when I act like that. I guess he is happy that he gets to subdue his own wife. But I had already become incapable of disobeying him. Then one day my parents came over to visit me. I had taken a paid holiday to coincide with their visit, so I waited for them at home. The doorbell rang, so I opened the front door and greeted my parents. "Mom, Dad, it's been a long time," I said as I welcomed them in, and both of my parents looked at me worried and surprised. "Huh? What's wrong with you two?"
I mean, what's wrong with you, Joyce? You've lost so much weight."
"What? Really?" I didn't even notice it myself, but it seems that I had lost a lot of weight. And they said that I had drawn in cheeks. I had been eating fine, so I didn't realize how much stress my body was under until my parents told me about it.
"Joyce, did something happen to you?"
When my parents asked me that, it was the first time I told them about my problems. Then my parents' faces turned red, and they became angry.
What Paul is doing to you is moral harassment, isn't it? I will never forgive him for doing this to my daughter.
What? Moral harassment? That was when I finally woke up. It seemed that my husband had brainwashed me little by little until now. My parents repeatedly told me that it was not my fault, and I was finally able to come to my senses. And I decided that I was ready to leave my husband. But at this point, I had no evidence whatsoever of my husband's moral harassment towards me. So that's why I have to record even a few of my husband's terrible remarks to me. My parents were worried about me and wanted me to come home with them now. But I decided to live here a little longer so that I could get some evidence at least. If I assume we are going to separate and going to get a divorce anyways, I can put up with the unreasonable things my husband says to me. And every time he says something unreasonable, I know I will have the upper hand in the divorce, so it will be bearable. After that, my husband has still been abusive and angry with me in ways that annoy me. I recorded each time and further documented it in my journal. Then I decided to look into something else that was bothering me. And I found out one thing. This was going to be a very good thing for my divorce. Then one day I had to work overtime again. So I was late getting home. But then I found out that my husband was coming home early only on such occasions when I'd come home late.
Hey, you did it again.
That's what my husband yelled at me when I came home. I'm sorry, I had to work late again.
I told you I don't want any excuses.
Saying that, my husband kicked the dining table. It made a terrible noise and the chair flew away, startling me so much that I let out a loud, "Ah!" My husband's face turned red and he was angry.
You really are a useless wife, aren't you? People like you better get out of my condo. You're just a loser who can only make $1,400 for income.
That's what my husband Paul said and tried to kick me out. Normally I would shrink back in fear, but I already made up my mind. I was frightened, but I did my best to talk back. Okay, but are you sure about that?
Huh? About what?
My husband looks at me with a puzzled look on his face. When I told him something, his face turned pale all at once. I'm recording your previous harassing remarks and saving them as evidence.
Huh?
All the data is ready to be sent to your parents and to your company.
What? You're kidding, right?
It's true. Besides, I have other evidence that you are actually having an affair.
Huh?
I said that and took out a photo of the evidence from my bag and showed it to him.
Why do you have these photos?
You can't get away with it now, you know. Even if I have to leave this place, I'll make it so that you won't be able to live in this world like how you were before.
No way. Wait a minute. Let's calm down for once, okay?
My husband, perhaps realizing that he was in a bad situation, said so. But I have nothing more to say. I am very calm. I can't stay in a marriage with an impatient, morally abusive cheater like you. I'll be the one to leave this house. I will demand alimony from you for both the emotional distress caused by your harassment and your affair.
No way.
I said that and started to pack up my belongings.
Hey, are you really leaving?
My husband's momentum from earlier suddenly disappeared, and he tried to hold me back with a tearful look on his face. But I wasn't afraid of him anymore. Yes, if I stay with you like this, I won't be able to go on anymore. That's why I'm leaving. I mean, you can be with your mistress now, so it should be a good deal for you. I'll take all the alimony I can get, though. With that, I went to the front door and put on my shoes. My husband collapsed from the spot and looked at me in a daze. Then I left the condo and got into a cab that took me to an empty business hotel. Then the next day, I had my parents pick me up in their car and take me back to my parents' house. After that, through my lawyer, I filed a claim for alimony against my husband and his mistress. I also filed a claim for compensation to my husband for moral harassment. Then I had the lawyer send a content-certified letter to my husband's workplace and my husband's parents' home, so my husband's moral harassment and affair spread around quickly. As a result, my husband's personal issues became a problem at his company and was demoted from section manager. In addition, his salary was reduced, and he was sent to a department in a local area working more in the factory, which required physicality more than working in an office. As a result, Paul had to terminate the lease of the condo. When his partner found out that I had filed a claim for compensation for moral harassment, she became afraid of Paul and disappeared from his life. Furthermore, Paul has been disowned by his parents and is now working in a local area all alone with no one by his side. The total amount of compensation for his harassment and his affair is substantial, so he cannot quit his job. and he is having a hard time with the daily stresses at working in the factory. On the other hand, I have been hired as a full-time employee at the company where I am currently working, and I am able to earn a steady income. I don't want to be in a relationship for a while, so for now, I'm going to focus on my job and get a promotion in the future. Thank you for watching until the end. Please subscribe to our channel. See you in the next video.